with you here on the call tonight for the season opener for both Father Ryan and Overton. An Overton team coming off a 1-9 season last year, but with a lot of seniors, Owen, against the Father Ryan squad with some youth, particularly at inside linebacker and the sophomore quarterback DC Tabscott.
Well, Lou, I'm going to tell you, I'm very excited to see how DC's going to play. I think the biggest key to his success is going to be how much timing he has. How quick can Overton get to him? I know with time, he is a very, very good passer.
Very strong arm, one of the strongest arms I've seen from a Father Ryan quarterback in many a moon. A lot of hope for him starting tonight.
And the kind of situation, you can look at it two ways. Yes, we have a sophomore playing quarterback, but maybe by the time he's a senior, we have a guy that's very well groomed. He'll be ready. He may be also, we hope he is, here by his senior year in 3 years.
Frees up Seamus O'Connell, who played quarterback last year after being in a split role when Pfeiffer was out for the year with a knee injury, but that prevented Seamus in turn from playing in the secondary. So they're playing receiver and cornerback tonight for the Irish as we look to both teams at midfield to do the coin toss. So the Irish win the toss and defer, as is the norm for Coach Rector and his squad. Coach Rector in his third season, so Irish will kick off to Overton and then receive the kickoff to start the second half.
I'm glad they're deferring because I look for a lot of energy out of number 23, David Russell. I know he's got a lot of prowess around him right now. He is definitely the player to watch on defense with Seamus O'Connell. What I've heard, he's not letting anybody getting around that edge this year. So very excited to watch. I can't wait to see him play.
Father Ryan runs a 3-4 defense. David Russell, one of those anchor spots at that defensive end. As mentioned before, this Father Ryan, especially the front seven, not a lot of seniors, but Russell is one of them, and he certainly will be important.
Highly touted, highly touted.
Irish will be looking for him to bring pressure from the edge.
And now the eye opens up, and they're about to make their way onto the field.
Irish will be coming in from the left side. Overton prepares to run onto the field with their team from the right side. It's all zeros on the scoreboard as they await. The team's getting ready as the band, as you noted. And here comes Overton from the right. Brand new uniforms for both teams. It's Adidas uniforms for Overton. A red helmet, white jersey, and red pants. And for the Irish, first year with Under Armour.
And we'll get back to that in a second, but the eye's about to take its final place. Getting all the way to the other 45. They turn, and here come the Irish, ladies and gentlemen.
Feel the anticipation here in this stadium, a pretty packed house for this season opener. Here come the Irish.
And you can hear the voice of Matt Purrier. Here they come, loud and proud.
And this was billed as a purple out with the purple jerseys and purple pants, along with the white helmets. Much more legible jersey numbers this year, which really is all I ask for, but a beautiful look. It's the kind of look that I would definitely approve of if they had asked me. They didn't, but they didn't need to. It looks great.
Definitely looks very classic. And what you'll notice is on one of the shoulders, the right shoulder, you'll notice that the Jerusalem cross is back. And you can go find that information on our website and about the Workers' Rights Initiative that Father Ryan has come up. That's about, workers' rights across the world and stuff. Go find your information now on fatherryan.org. Workers' Rights Initiative. I'm glad they found a company that is working to improve their values and can provide great uniforms.
It's a beautiful look, and obviously it's something that can align with the values of Father Ryan High School. It is a win-win for all involved. So they got 12 minutes up on the scoreboard. Wait for the band to exit stage left, so to speak, after they set up the eye for the Father Ryan Irish football team to take the field.
One of the things I do like about it, it's kind of get the Notre Dame look in a way that it doesn't have any of the names on the back. The numbers are very clean. There's nothing crazy about it. It's a very clean look. And I like how they have the crest not only on the back of the jerseys, but also on the left side of the pants as well, on the front, right on the left hip.
It's a nice look. It's not a busy look.
No, it's not. It's very simple and appealing to the eye, Lou.
And if you want to see what those jerseys look like, instead of just us describing them, go on Twitter, behind FRHS Crest. And that's behind FRHS Crest, the Behind the Crest official Twitter account. They've got some photos of both the home and road jerseys. So it's about time for kickoff.
Hey, and if they're not excited about these purple ones, just wait till next week when in a couple weeks when we start debuting the white ones.
Week 4, the Bishop's Cup. That's the first road game for the Irish this season, with 3 in a row to start the season. Week 4 at JP2, a game that'll be on Channel 30 here locally in Nashville. Zach Wesnowski, the sophomore, is going to kick it off, and the 2018 season's underway. It's a squib kick to the near side, that live ball. Overton recovers at the 32-yard line.
And we had players in there ready, almost got the ball. It was almost a jump, and had that bounce the other way. That would have been Irish ball on the 35-yard line, but sometimes that's how the bounce goes. But that's a very look you're going to see from Coach Rector in the kickoff is it's going to be short. They're not kicking it deep. They're not risking it. They have faith that their guys can get it short, and they won't let them get downfield.
Recovered by Micah Kimball. You'll see in there quite a bit at running back. He's also the backup quarterback. This Overton team is not particularly deep. Players on both sides of the ball, so it'll be Sam Mastic, quarterback, working out of the pistol. 3 receivers, 2 to the far side on this 1st and 10. It's going to be a handoff. There'll be a loss on the play. David Jefferson on the carry.
And you can see the fire already. These boys are ready to go, Lou.
Saw Zach Smith in that area along with Anthony Wright. Didn't see who actually finally made that tackle as it was a swarm.
Hey, what I tell you about running to the outside, David Russell said to me this week that it wasn't going to happen, and so far it hasn't.
And they ran to Russell's side. Russell on that near side here. 2nd and 13 just underway here at Giacosa Stadium. No score, Father Ryan and Overton. So out of the pistol on 2nd and 13. It'll be a handoff up the middle to the 35 to the 40. As the first down, will be brought down just shy of the 50-yard line. William Edmondson, the safety, making the tackle. And David Jefferson picking up large chunky yardage. 1st and 10 for Overton at their own 47-yard line. 11:13 to go, first quarter, no score. Father Ryan and Overton.
You know, I think what we talked about before the game, it might take a while because you have a very different look than what we saw last year for Father Ryan. So it might take a minute for them to find their groove on both sides of the ball.
So on 1st and 10, it's going to be a delay handoff to Jefferson. Tries to kick it to the outside. Gains a couple of yards. 2 or 3 Irish defenders there to make the stop.
The hold it wasn't there that time.
Looked for a second like he might slip through. Jefferson, I've got to note him more of a scat back. Very slippery. Difficult to bring down. The Irish, though, able to stop him after a 1-yard gain. 2nd and 9 for Overton at their own 48-yard line.
Well, Matthew Zito did a good job for Father Ryan of wrapping up and not letting him go.
Father Ryan in this 3-4 defense. They've got their outside linebackers up near the line of scrimmage. And it's a run stop. And it's going to be a tackle for a loss. Well, forward progress, or what you can call forward progress on a loss, or only a couple of yards, but driven back. Anthony Wright was in there.
Anthony Wright, I look for a lot out of him and the twin brother this year. Very exciting duo we have there.
That sets up 3rd and 12 for Overton, approaching the 10-minute mark of the first quarter. No score. Father Ryan and Overton. This is the 45th meeting between these two schools. Father Ryan leads the series 22-20, and they've run 4 out of the last 5 meetings.
It's definitely the backyard rivalry.
It's a 4-receiver look. Game with a pistol. It's going to be a false start. I thought it looked like the near side H-back started about a half second early. And indeed, false start. That's our first penalty of the game. So 3rd and 12 becomes 3rd and 17 for Overton.
I kind of wish they didn't blow that flag. Patrick Emhoff looked like he was right there ready to blow up that play, and we're certainly happy to see him back. He's had that knee disease and a lot of problems over the past couple years. Didn't get to play last year, as at one point had to go around on a scooter around school because he could not walk at all. So it's good to see him back in action for his senior year.
3rd and 17 for Overton. 9:30 to go first quarter. No score between the Irish and the Bobcats. It's a 4-receiver look, 3 to the near side. They're setting up the screen. It's dropped. Incomplete pass intended for Jefferson.
O'Connell was there to blow it up if he caught it.
Well, the Irish had that one scouted well.
Lou, what do you notice so far about this Overton offense that is similar to last year? For me, you know, I wasn't at the Overton game. I had a prior conflict, but from what I watched bits and pieces of on film, not a lot of passing.
Well, no, and their quarterback Mast, he can throw the ball, but he's Look for Parker Erdman back to return this punt. An end-over-end punt by the Bobcats. Going toward the far side. Irish wisely get away from it. It takes a Bobcat bounce and goes out of bounds at the Father Ryan 25-yard line. So that's where Father Ryan's first offensive series of this 2018 season will begin.
Mass, spin around on that snap. Kind of confused me. I thought they were going to roll out and fake it for a second, but he ended up, a couple Irish defenders running towards him, just ended up pooching it. It looked like for a second he might, fake it, run the boot. Wasn't really sure what happened there. It might have just been a snap off to the side.
I saw, looking at some of the, and it's tough to find video from scrimmages, I assure you, but I found it at least on one play where it was a high snap that kind of messed them up. So here come the Irish. DC Tab Scott out of the shotgun. Bit of a tight formation. 3 receivers, 2 to the far side. Bring a man in motion. Maybe a 3-yard gain on that one.
I know Rector likes to run the ball. He definitely is a run-first coach so far from what the first 3 years have looked like at Father Ryan.
So Nick Watson on the carry, 3-yard gain, 2nd and 7, 8:46 to go first quarter, no score. Tab Scott out of the gun looking at 2nd and 7. Throws to the near side, incomplete. Intended receiver Nick Watson. Watson didn't really have a chance to make that catch. Throw a bit off. Now Father Ryan looking at 3rd and 7, 8:38 to go first quarter, no score between the Irish and the Bobcats.
I don't blame Tab Scott for being a little nervous. That's a very difficult pass to make for your first official pass of your varsity career.
Number 44, Noah Haley, into the game for the Irish on this 3rd and 7. It's a 3-receiver look, 2 to the far side. They try and space things out. Overton, that 4-3 defense, they bring 4. Tab Scott's going to set up the screen, receiver screen to the near side. It falls, it should be incomplete, and they will say incomplete.
Yes, it took a second for them to wave there. I guess they're trying to decide. It did look like a forward pass from here, Lou.
We are looking at a bit of an angle here from this press box, so we want to wait and see for sure. But the officials said, they say incomplete.
It is 4th down.
So that first drive didn't do much for the Irish. They net 3 yards. At the 8:31 mark of the first quarter, looks like Wesnowski will be in to punt.
Look, it's like I said a few minutes ago, especially when you have a young quarterback coming in to replace a junior last year and a senior quarterback for 2 games in Pfeiffer. I mean, it's going to take a minute in your first game to transition and find a good groove.
So Wesnowski's punt. Fair catch called by Overton. They let it bounce. It takes an Irish roll. Going to be blown dead at the Overton 37-yard line. So that's where the Bobcats will begin their second offensive possession of this game. 8:17 to go first quarter. No score. Father Ryan and Overton. So the Bobcats step to the line of scrimmage. 8:17 to go first quarter. No score between Father Ryan and Overton. Sam Mast, the quarterback, out of that pistol they run. 3 receivers. It's going to be a handoff to Jefferson again. He's gotten the bulk of the carries thus far, but Father Ryan, and it's tough to pick out a defender with a 3 or 4 right there. The Irish doing a good job to swarm to him.
Matthew Beacom was leading that swarm in on him, number 43. They're moving fast.
I expect both teams might opt to go with a tempo type approach, try and feel the way this game is going to play out. Under 8 minutes to go first quarter with no score on 2nd and 9. Mass is going to hand up again to Jefferson. Look like a hold, no flag. He finally gets to the corner, isn't able to turn the edge. Maybe gets a couple of yards. There's a big pile of players there on that far side to stop his forward progress.
I'm not going to lie. Because Father Ryan is a little smaller in stature, naturally they are a little bit faster, so outside might not be the way Overton wants to approach their running offense.
So with 3rd and 7, 7:15 to go here in this first quarter, no score. It's going to be a 4-receiver look, 3 to the near side. Mast at quarterback with Jefferson behind him. Sets up the throw. It's a rainbow throw to that far side. Falls incomplete. Penalty flag is down.
I think they might tap him for defensive interference right there at the end. There's a lot of grabbing right there.
Wait and see what the officials say. That's what it looked like to me as well. Again, they're on that far side, so a little difficult to tell. Say defensive holding.
That's not as bad. That's only a 5-yard penalty, I believe. But they are going to give them the first down. I did not know that. It's a 10-yard penalty, my bad.
So a 10-yard penalty. It's not an automatic first down, but it does move the chains with the ball at the Overton 49-yard line. Under 7 minutes to go, first quarter. No score, Father Ryan and Overton.
That's going to be something that grinds Rector gears a little early, especially depending how long this drive goes. Mistakes make the difference.
2 receivers on either side. Masked out of the pistol. Looks to throw here on this 1st and 10. Outlet man is Jefferson on that far side. Escapes 1 tackle. A couple of players falling in there to make the stop for the Irish.
Yeah, they had to stop after about 1 yard game. They weren't really in position to wrap up. They had 2 guys there. I believe one of them was O'Connell. No, it was not. Forgive me, I'm trying to learn the new roster still.
Seamus O'Connell, of course, played quarterback for the bulk of last season for the Irish, but able now to play on both offense and defense. Receiver on offense and one of the corner positions on defense. 2nd and 6.
He's exciting to watch.
Approaching the 6:20 mark of this first quarter. That'll be another handoff. Jefferson. And he'll get blown up and probably back to the line of scrimmage and nothing more.
I really like what I've seen so far of the Father Ryan defense. It seems like from now, I guess we can say this in his 13, a typical Coach Rector run defense. Not much going on.
So Matthew Zito from that inside linebacker position makes the stop. 3rd and 6. 5:45 to go first quarter. No score. Father Ryan and Overton. Bobcats with 4 receivers, 3 to the near side. They love that pistol formation. It's going to be Mast keeping it himself. He's a threat to run. They'll be close. It looks like he got the first down.
I don't know. It's going to be close. They might have to bring the chain crew in.
And it will depend on the spot.
I imagine they might run another quarterback draw if it is 4th down.
Seems that Matthew Zito and Matthew Beacom, 2 linebackers in there on the stop. It appears they will be setting up to measure. If it wasn't a first down, it's very close, and it will set up a 4th and very short. So at the 5:18 mark of this first quarter, Overton's going to talk things over. And again, from this vantage point, it looked like he had the first, but up here in the booth is one thing, down there on the field is another, and he was short. So just barely shy. So 4th and a foot for Overton at the 5:18 mark of this first quarter. You would figure they would go for it in this situation. They punted earlier, but that was on 4th and 17, not on 4th and less than 1. So they're going to spot the ball just on the Overton side of the Father Ryan 41-yard line. It won't take much to get the first down if they can get the push. Alternately, Father Ryan, and they get the stop right here, they will get a turnover on downs. The Bobcats bring in their big guys. And with Mast under center, you think he might sneak it here. And the official on the near side is stopping play. It's going to be timeout Father Ryan. So at the 5:10 mark here of this first quarter, no score, the Irish wait to see Overton get to the line of scrimmage, see what they're going to line up with, and they're going to talk things over here on this near sideline. Real quick, a good chance to mention a couple of scores of interest. Baylor School down in Chattanooga, who the Irish will play later this season. They played last night. They beat Chattanooga Notre Dame 35-14. One other game that started an hour before this one was Macaulay. Macaulay playing at Chattanooga Christian. Those schools only 5 miles apart. And Macaulay at last word up 21-0. B.J. Harris had a touchdown run early in that one. He's going to be a threat. If I'm not mistaken, he's only a sophomore.
And just some more news. Hillsboro against Brentwood Academy. We have a fumbled punt on the 1 yard line. So BA's 1st and goal on the 1 after a mishandled snap by Hillsboro. And they are on 1st and goal on the 1 as we speak. 1
week from tonight, Brentwood Academy will play against the Irish here at Giacosa Stadium.
And now it's 9-0 as the easy walk-in touchdown for Brentwood Academy.
Now back to this game after the timeout by Father Ryan, 4th and short. Overton looks like they're going to line up to go for it. You figure Mast is going to go in on the keeper, and that Irish defense is going to try and stand strong. Bring a man in motion from that far side. Indeed, it is Mast pushing forward. He will have the first down.
What an effort. Tried to look like Bo over the top, just not with the running start.
You have to be careful in that situation. You can't just reach the ball over like it's the end zone because obviously you get knocked loose. But in that case, he was able to get the ball. They'll spot it at the Father Ryan 39-yard line. 1st and 10 Overton, no score. 5:05 to go, first quarter. And what has turned into a bit of a long drive here for this Overton Bobcats team. And again, it is 3 receivers with 1 player in the pistol. That is DeTore Johns. Or in the H-back slot in the pistol. Mast, the quarterback, fakes the handoff, looks to throw, double pumps, over the middle, dangerous, and intercepted! So the Irish with an interception. Nick Watson. Or check that, Matthew Zito.
Way to be aware off that tip. There are so many opportunities throughout a game at this level where you have those opportunities, good hands.
So Matthew Zito, after having a tackle earlier on that drive on a pass, and that's where, from what I've seen on tape from Mast, I remember him from last season, that's where he can get into trouble, is trying to force the ball into spots where it's not necessarily the best decision. The ball pops up in the air, and the Irish force the first turnover of the game. They'll have it 1st and 10 at their own 28-yard line.
Well, you could see he was definitely unsure on that throw.
With 3 receivers, 2 to that far side, it's going to be Antonio Wright, the handoff. Had a cut back, wasn't much of a hole for him, and held a couple of yards, if that.
Yeah, not really anything opening up there. Let's see what else they might try on this drive differently. Try to create some space.
On their first possession, the Irish went 3 and out. Trying to avoid that happening here on this second offensive possession. And again, Father Ryan deferred the opening coin toss after they won it. So they'll receive the ball to start the second half. 4:10 and counting, first quarter. With 19 seconds on the play clock, Tabscott looks to the sideline for instruction. It's 4 receivers, including a slot receiver, 2 on either side. So it'll be a handoff. Here's Antonio Wright. Not quite to the first down, but within maybe a yard of it.
Way to lower it, hunker down, and make a good play, getting every inch he could. Some
size on that Overton defense, that front 7. And very senior laden. So Father Ryan on 3rd and 1. 3:30 to go, first quarter. It's going to be a handoff. Run up the middle for a first down. Indeed, it was Antonio Wright. I saw the 1 and not the 0. So Father Ryan gets its first down of the 2018 season. Moves the chains with the ball at their own 41-yard line. 3:23 to go, first quarter. No score, Father Ryan and Overton. And this is where you might see the Father Ryan offense get a little bit more up-tempo.
That first down is very huge.
Certainly sets the tone. Didn't want to have back-to-back 3 and outs to start the game on 1st and 10 to handoff. That's Antonio Wright pushing forward close to the first down marker. Brought down right near midfield. You need to reach the Overton 49-yard line, so on 1st and 10, a 9-yard gain for the Irish.
Wright is playing with some anger and intensity.
Both Anthony Wright and Antonio Wright had played since their freshman year. This is their 3rd year, in Father Ryan 3rd year in Coach Rector's system. And they're going to be asked to do quite a bit from the running game this season. So 2nd and 1 for the Irish. Again, it'll be Antonio Wright running up the middle, slicing through. Didn't need much of a hole. He's got that acceleration. They'll finally stop him at the Overton 42-yard line, but it's enough to move the chains, first down again for the Irish.
It kind of looks like the Steve Spurrier way out there right now on play calling. We're going to do it until you can't stop it.
Well, particularly setting the tone running the ball is an important thing. You've got a sophomore quarterback in there in the form of D.C. Tabscott. Very highly touted. He's got a very strong arm, but nonetheless, you want to, if you're Father Ryan, make sure you support him with a good running game. Move the H back up as an extra blocker on this 1st and 10. It's a handoff, Antonio Wright, past the 40, brought down just shy of the 35-yard line, so the 36, a 6-yard gain on 1st and 10. And the Irish continuing to find success running the football.
That's the 4th straight play that he's had good success. I wonder now if we might see something to the outside now that Overton's going to have to start packing it in if they're going to stop this kid.
Less than 2 minutes to go here in this opening quarter with no score, Father Ryan and Overton. Again, a 3-receiver look for the Irish. Tabscott barks to his line. He'll move right to his right hip. Handoff Antonio Wright. He has the first down past the 30-yard line, or at least close to it. Looked like he got past it.
Definitely a first down.
And he'd reached the 32. He reached just shy of the 30. So the running game, like you mentioned, Owen, keep doing it until they stop you.
Antonio's coming out of the game now, but give him a break. That was an incredible series for him.
Certainly has earned a breather on that one. 1st and 10 for Father Ryan.
Jaden Robinson, the highly touted freshman for Father Ryan, is now in at tailback.
That's going to be a handoff on the sweep. Seamus O'Connell. They finally get him into the action. They'll have maybe a 4-yard gain on that one.
I heard that we might see Seamus on offense just a little bit this week. They have some packages for him.
Indeed, it was Jaden Robinson into the game. Had my freshman sheet, had to double check on that one. So it's 3 receivers. Robinson still in at the running back spot. It's going to be a handoff. Running the wrong way. And the first run for Father Ryan for Jaden Robinson is a considerable loss.
You know, it's just that's one of them freshman mistakes. You have to know when you have to give up and that there's nothing there. You have to hunker down rather than trying to run and bounce around.
Diamande in there helping on the stop for that Overton team. And again, they'll have a lot of guys playing both sides of the ball with less than 20 seconds to go here in this quarter. Father Ryan will have to snap it. There's a 2-second differential between the play clock and the game clock. So 3rd and 16 after the ill-fated run.
We might finally get to see Tapscott's long ball.
It's 0. They didn't blow it dead. Irish catch a break as a screen pass to O'Connell. He's got it to the 30, slipping through to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Irish!
As the clock runs out.
The play clock had hit 0, but by rule, until the referee looks up and blows it dead, it's not dead. So the Irish caught a break there. It was a perfectly called screen pass. 3rd and 16. The receiver screen to Seamus O'Connell. 6-0 Father Ryan as they're going to possibly go for 2. That was the last play of the first quarter. Again, the Irish had to get that play off or else get a 5-yard penalty. An official's timeout now.
I don't think can they do that? Can they check the clock?
There's no clock to be checked.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have a review
Here's
system like
what's
that.
going to happen. They're going to kick an extra point or go for 2, and either they're going to get it or they won't because it's on 0-0. So the kickoff will start the second quarter. But the referees just make sure everybody's right and in position, apparently. It's, again, week 1. Father Ryan's still lining up so that they might try the 2-point conversion play. Wes Nossi coming in now, so I guess that's off. They haven't started the play clock yet, so plenty of time for the Irish to survey the situation and decide. Wesnowski started last year as a freshman, as a kicker, but a groin injury stymied him mid-season. The extra point is up and good. So Father Ryan, at the very last play of the first quarter, strikes first. So after 1 quarter here at Giacosa Stadium, your score, Father Ryan 7, Overton 0. We'll be right back here on ATW Sportscast. We start the second quarter here at Giacosa Stadium. Hey everybody, Lou Pickney and Owen Dougharty with you here on the call tonight on a warm, muggy mid 80 degree, at least at kickoff time, temperature-wise, evening here in South Nashville.
And what an exciting way for the Irish offense to finally get some energy. Good runs by Antonio Wright, and then a beautiful screen pass set up for O'Connell, who danced his way into the end zone after breaking a few tackles.
So the second quarter will begin like the first one did, with Father Ryan kicking off with Wesnowski. It's an end-over-end kick at intermediate length. It's going to bounce as a live ball. It's muffed. It was a muffed ball.
He's got it. It's ours.
And it appears Father Ryan has recovered.
That is the risk when you don't. That is the reason Coach Rector does those pooch kickoffs, is because sometimes teams are not prepared. You have guys in position that don't usually return kickoff.
Recovery by Grayson Hubbock. And you're exactly right, Owen. That's the thing. Those intermediate kicks, it does two things. First, it takes the very talented, often deep receivers out of play. And on top of that, and while I'm not going to give you the ideal field position that a touchback would, it certainly gives you a chance to jump on the ball. And now the Irish trying to build on that momentum after the touchdown to end the first quarter. 11:58 to go here, second quarter. Father Ryan up 7-0.
Look for Antonio Wright up the middle.
And he does a handoff up the middle. Not a whole lot of room for Antonio Wright on that one.
Still a gain of 3. It's just not good from what we just saw.
Well, still, it's quality. You're moving in the right direction. Charleston Sutterth on the stop. And he is for sure wearing number 50 tonight. He wore 950. I was told back and forth on which number, but it is 50 before this senior on the defensive line for Overton, second, and they'll say second and 8. 11:30 to go, second quarter. Father Ryan leads 7-0. It's two receivers to the far side. They'll move Antonio Wright to the right hip. And it's a handoff. Antonio Wright runs into his own teammate. Flag comes in late. Back to the line of scrimmage at best. Kellen Delaney trying to block there, the offensive guard position.
We have helmets missing for Overton players.
Yeah, Daniel Logan lost his lid there, but the penalty is against Father Ryan. So a holding call.
We've got an injury down the field. Daniel Logan, whose helmet just came off, he is hurting. He is down on the 20-yard line on the far side of your screen.
Well, he'll receive some attention, hopefully just a cramp. And again, this is what you get this time of year early in the season, while both teams, I'm sure, well-conditioned, used to running this heat. You can adjust all you want, and they'll have the training staff look at him. Typically, this early in the game, you don't see cramping, but you hope that's what it is.
Well, he seemed to be grabbing that calf.
Certainly hope for the best for him on that. So they'll go over and gives both teams a chance to catch their breath. Father Ryan's going to be looking at a 2nd and 18 after the holding penalty. The ball at the 25-yard line of Overton, so the Irish 25 yards away from making this a 2-score game. And this we were talking about before the game, Owen, as far as what we might expect, and this back and forth early. So Overton, their starters are quite stout, a very senior-laden team. But they have a lot of guys that play both sides of the ball. And exhaustion eventually gets one side or the other, where that typically goes. And good to see Daniel Logan able to leave the field to the sideline on his own power. Hope it's just a cramp for him on that one.
Yeah, we certainly do. We don't like to see anyone, no matter who they play for, go down with any type of injury.
I mean, ultimately, it is a game. This is a sport. Want everybody, of course, to come out of it healthy. So Father Ryan looking at 2nd and 18. Ball at the Overton 25-yard line. The Irish leading 7-0 here early in this second quarter. It's two receivers to the far side. And they're going to send Antonio Wright in motion to the far side as well. It opens up to the near side. It's complete or bobbled.
He bobbled it incomplete. He bobbled it out of bounds. He did not have control of the ball going out of bounds, so they're going to rule it incomplete.
Josh Pfeiffer, the intended receiver. And it was a good setup from a layout standpoint. You send Antonio Wright to that far side. You make the defensive backs move over that way. Opens up man coverage.
Let's be real. That's a very difficult pass for a young man to make. That was across his body for Tapscott at that angle in the out route right there. That's a very difficult pass for a young quarterback to make.
3rd and 18 for the Irish. They need to get the ball inside the 8-yard line of Overton. They're setting up the screen. Throwing to Antonio Wright. It's complete. To the 20, to the 15, to the 10, to the 5. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Irish.
Beautifully set up. They had him roll out to the right, and the Overton defense bought it, and the screen was set up with the amount of blockers they needed.
So that's 2 screen passes on 3rd and long. The first being a receiver screen to Seamus O'Connell. This one, the running back screen, Antonio Wright. It's touchdowns both times for Father Ryan.
We got a broken flag down on the field. A little too much excitement early.
So Father Ryan's going to set up for the traditional extra point. So they're going to send Pfeiffer over to the sideline for some reason. Josh Pfeiffer, the holder, will exit the game. Seamus will come in to hold this extra point try. So Seamus O'Connell to hold.
He does it all. He does it all.
He really can. He can punt too, if you remember last season, so don't count that out. But on this one, an extra point try for Wesnowski. Already hit one earlier after the first Father Ryan touchdown. Spinning through, and
It is good.
It is good. So at the 10:49 mark of the second quarter, your score, Father Ryan 14, Overton 0. We'll be right back on ATW Sportscast. .10:49 to go second quarter. Father Ryan, after being scoreless with Overton until the final play of the first quarter, recovers the muffed kickoff by the Bobcats. And then, after a penalty sent them back, the Irish on 3rd and long. The screen pass to Antonio Wright. So DC Tabscott in his first game starting for the Irish, the sophomore quarterback, a pair of touchdown passes. And for a guy with a cannon arm, not the way you would think with the screen pass. So it's 14-0 Father Ryan with the lead over Overton. First two kickoffs for intermediate length spinners, and that's going to be the case as well. This one toward that far side. It's going to be returned from the 30-yard line. Take 2 or 3 Irish defenders to finally bring him down. Like Jackson Brown in there on the stop. It was Micah Kimball on the return. Kimball's pretty, for being a mid-back guy, he's got some return skills. He's a player that plays cornerback for this Bobcats team. So they'll finally say the ball is at the 35-yard line. No harmonicas in here, please, Dean. 10:41 to go second quarter. Irish leading 14-0, and Overton now on the field, trying to recover from a 2-score deficit. Last time the offense had the ball, it was 0-0. After the Father Ryan touchdown, the muffed kickoff return. In the second Irish score, it's 14-0, a run on 1st and 10 to the outside.
Did you see that get blown up, Lou? That was very, very interesting. I know you can get really good angle over here. He just got stood up.
Evian Green, the junior, on the run. Ended up losing 5 yards on that one. Good job by Father Ryan's defense. They're almost going to challenge, I would think, at this point, Sam Mast to throw the ball on them.
And that's where I'm really excited to see Seamus O'Connell back. I think he'll be making plays now that he's back on defense.
Certainly helps to have him in the defensive secondary. So on 2nd and 15, it's another handoff. That defensive line for Father Ryan, tough to tell exactly who was in there making the stop. Several guys. So Green on the carry.
Overton really doesn't seem, ever since that first drive, like they really have a kind of a rhythm. They are definitely rhythmless at the moment.
Credit to Father Ryan's defense for stymieing that rhythm. Tough to get a rhythm when your running back goes 5 yards the wrong way on 1st down. 3rd and 13, 9:30 to go second quarter. Father Ryan leads Overton 14-0, and the Bobcats looking at 3rd and long. Mass staring down a receiver to that far side. He throws, be incomplete. Hunter Hopkins in the vicinity.
It's just a little overthrown there, and good coverage by Hopkins.
Intended receiver Jalen Bayless. Hopkins in the area. Bayless didn't have a reasonable chance to make a catch on that one. So 4th and 13 at the 9:19 mark of this second quarter. So it will be Parker Erdman back to return the punt for the Irish. Mast.
I want to see if they try to come after him here in a second.
Be interesting to see if Father Ryan brings the pressure.
He had trouble on the last punt with the snap.
They're going to play it safe with that 2-touchdown lead. It's a high end-over-end punt. Fair catch called for and made at the Irish 34-yard line. So Parker Erdman, the sophomore, able to bring that one in cleanly.
I'm not going to lie. I think punt returner is the most dangerous job in football, without a doubt, because you're looking straight up and you don't know what's right in front of you.
You notice that players that succeed as punt returners have great instincts. You almost have to have that.
Yes. You know, I remember why I say that. Several years ago in the James Franklin era at Vanderbilt, Arkansas, I don't know if you remember this, Lou, but Jonathan Krause had called for a fair catch, and that was the dirtiest, biggest hit I have ever seen in my life. I mean, it was crazy, and that's why I say that, because you can see how bad that can get when people aren't paying attention.
So on 1st and 10 for Father Ryan, it's the 3-receiver look. They're going to hand it to Antonio Wright. He tries to push it to the outside, but the defensive line got a nice push for Overton.
I wonder to see if they're going to run DC out in the pocket like they did on that last screen pass. That definitely opened up a lot of space for Antonio Wright, who has great field vision so far.
To Torrey Johns in there on the stop for Overton. 2nd and 10, no gain on that one. 8:40 and counting to go second quarter. Father Ryan leading 14-0 with the ball, trying to get 3 touchdowns in as many consecutive possessions. Tapscott's going to throw to that far sideline, complete.
That's the 3rd time he's thrown that pass, and 2 of them has been complete. One was just out of bounds because of the bobble step. I cannot stress enough that is such a difficult pass to make, especially for a young kid. I'm very impressed from what I'm seeing from this kid's arm so far.
Michael Linehan on the reception, a 9-yard, or that's 9 yards from the original line of scrimmage. So it's going to be 3rd and 1 for the Irish. Ball at their own 43-yard line, leading 14-0, 8:21 to go here. It's going to be a quick play. They're going to hand it off, and the play will get blown up in the backfield. Father Ryan tried to catch Overton napping, but so Lasoya got the stop. We'll talk about him in a second. Go ahead.
I don't know, we have the hurry up here, but you might see the pooch punt here in just a second. We'll see if Tapscott steps back.
They're going to try and get Overton to jump because it's 4th and less than 5. As you see, this could be the pooch punt, though. They're trying to get him moving to the neutral zone. 21 seconds and counting on the play clock, so as long as Father Ryan holds still, they can try all they want. Tapscott barking away.
You can see Rector there ready to make the timeout. He's watching the game clock.
With 8 seconds on the play clock, the 7:40 mark of this second quarter. Father Ryan's already used 1 timeout, so they'll opt to use a second right here. 7:34 to go second quarter. Father Ryan leads 14-0, but on this 4th and 3 after the hard count by Tapscott, they try to get Overton to jump into the neutral zone, especially early in the season. It can be sometimes advantageous, and that's something. This is a trademark of the Coach Rector era offense for Father Ryan. And those 4th and short yardage or 4th and less than 5 plays, get to the line quick, see if you make the opponents make a mistake, and get that automatic freebie first down.
Forrest Dangler is in punting formation for the Irish. He was punting the ball away. This is something I'm kind of not used to seeing from Coach Rector. I'm very used to seeing the pooch punt.
Well, to be fair, I've never seen Tapscott punt the ball, so I'm not sure how that is relative to his skill set. But in that case, they were just trying to get Overton to jump. With a 14-0 lead, Father Ryan, with 7.5 minutes to go in this first half, willing to take the risk of having to use that second timeout in a trade to try and get Overton to jump. Overton did not jump, and so indeed it will be Dingler back to punt. Looks like Robert Carlew, if I can read that tiny number on his shoulder there. End over end, sky-high punt. Be caught and fair catch made at the 28-yard line. It was actually 22. So Usani Harara with the fair catch, and so that's where Overton will start 1st and 10 at its own as they spot the ball near their 25-yard line, wherever it ends up being. Be 1 yard inside of it. So 1st and 10 Overton from their own 24-yard line. 7:27 to go second quarter. Father Ryan leads 14-0.
So we'll see what Overton tries here in just a second.
Again, they almost exclusively work out of a pistol formation. That again is the look with 2 receivers to this near side. Mass is going to roll to the near side, throw to the near side. It's complete. I guess his knee hit quickly. I was waiting for him to make another move, but apparently the whistles blew. Nathan Wilson on the reception. So a 4-yard gain for the Bobcats, 2nd and 6. Approaching the 7-minute mark of the second quarter, Father Ryan leads Overton 14-0.
Ladies and gentlemen, the musicianal stylings of Dean Johnson.
So on 2nd and 6, it's going to be a handoff. And that Irish defense swarming to the ball. They'll be on Green on the carry. He gained maybe a yard. Michael Hart's into the game for Father Ryan, spelling Nick Watson on this 3rd and 6. 6:26 to go, second quarter. Father Ryan leads Overton 14-0. 3rd and a long 4 for the Bobcats. Mass is going to throw to that near side. It falls incomplete, in and out of the hands of Green.
Just thrown a little bit too far behind right there. Wasn't able to, worried about getting hit. Looked like a little bit rather than making the play. Could sense he might have been about to get blown up.
Well, Matthew Zito was right there ready to make the form tackle if needed, but with the ball falling harmlessly to the ground. It's 4th and 4 in Overton. You would imagine right here will punt. 6:04 to go, second quarter. Father Ryan leads 14-0.
I'm really interested to see if Rector will, try to get some pressure.
Mass taking his time to get the ball. It's a high punt. Father Ryan's going to be aware and get away from it. Fair catch made. A very dangerous play, though. Good job by Parker Erdman to make another clean, fair catch. But those situations, and we talked about before, Owen, the whole threat of a punt returner and having to have instincts. In this case, on the punt return team, you have to be careful that ball bounces around and hits you. It's a live ball at that point.
Look, if you want to know why there's so much conversation about punt returns in football and how they can change it, please go to YouTube, look up the Jonathan Krause Arkansas punt return. That might change your mind on how you feel about punt returns. You can see the effect of how bad it can get.
Less than 6 minutes to go, first half. Father Ryan leads 14-0. 1st and 10. It's 3 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near. Tab's got the quarterback. It's going to be a handoff and a run up the middle.
He's still churning.
Keeping those legs moving. KJ Baker, the senior right outside linebacker, making the stop.
I definitely think because Father Ryan deferred, they will definitely try to run the clock out on this as much as they can.
It was the freshman, another freshman in there for Father Ryan, Marion Ford, his first carry for the Irish. It's a 3-yard gain, set up 2nd and 7. Less than 5.5 minutes to go, second quarter. Father Ryan leads 14-0. And again, the same look. 3 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near for Tab Scott, standing at his own 35-yard line. Looks to throw. Throws to that far side. And it's complete.
Nice catch.
A beautiful catch on that far side. Nick Watson.
That is something I've missed about Father Ryan football last year. Seamus has a good arm, but, he didn't have the whole summer training camp. He was trained as a Wildcat quarterback last year, and coming in halfway through the second game of the season, you really didn't see much air offense from Father Ryan.
Irish quick to the line in this 1st and 10. It's going to be a run up the middle, but a 4-yard gain. That's the thing, Father Ryan, when they get that long completion, they're quick to the line. It's just the way they operate.
It's about catching the opponent off guard.
Ford on the carry. He'll hit the sideline as he'll be spelled by Antonio Wright. 2nd and 7. Less than 5 minutes to go in the first half. Father Ryan leads 14-0. With the officials, we got a stop from the officials.
I think we have an Overton timeout. I'm not sure.
Well, there's a player from Overton. Well, he started to come onto the field, number 67.
Just one of the more of the week 1 stuff you see out here. I think they had 12 men on the field.
There was no flag, so 2nd and 7, 4:38 and counting, 15 seconds and counting on the play clock. You hand off Antonio Wright, tries to slice through that second level, about a yard shy of the yardage he needed to get a first down, so 3rd and short now for the Irish.
Overton definitely has seemed to find a way to kind of slow down Antonio Wright, but he's still getting 3 yards a carry right now.
You've got Diamande in there, one of those talented defensive ends, Baker at linebacker. A couple guys in there trying to plug up the holes and limit the opportunities for the Irish. 3rd and 1 as we approach the 4-minute mark of the first half. Father Ryan leads 14-0. The Irish will receive to start the second half as well. It's a man in motion. It's going to be a jet sweep and a hard hit. Oh my goodness, that was a hard hit.
I think he's short too.
It's a clean play. Nick Watson on the carry. The senior, the 6'2", 215-pound left outside linebacker for Overton, C.J. Martin, laid the lumber. A clean hit, and Watson able to get up just fine.
I don't know if they heard it, but I heard the crowd's reaction to that hit.
So for all the talk I heard about the Irish not running the jet sweep, I've seen it twice in this first half. 4th and short. Irish are lining up to go for it. And it's a false start. And that wasn't one of those plays to just try and draw Overton offside either.
Coach Shaver, the offensive line coach, obviously frustrated. Some of those mistakes you go, you're facing 4th and long now, and that's more of a difficult situation because you're at kind of out of field goal range.
Oh, yeah.
But you're in opponent territory. You're kind of at one of those situations. What are we going to do?
So 4th and 6 for the Irish, and that is you're not going to punt from inside Overton territory. It's Wisnowski isn't remotely close to his range as far as I know, unless he's really added to his range this offseason.
I'm not going to lie. In 8th grade, I've heard the rumors, because he went to Holy Rosary, so did I, the rumors of him nailing a 40-yarder in practice. I don't know if that's true, but that's some of the rumors I used to hear about him.
Oh, it's a bad snap. Tabscott needs to jump on it. He's going to try and make a play happen to be thrown to the turf. So 4th down, and Father Ryan goes in the wrong direction.
And, that's some of the things we talked about when you have a very young and old team mixed in between. Some of those things might happen. Some mistakes are going to happen in there.
So 2:48 to go first half. Father Ryan leads 14-0, but after that debacle of a 4th down play,
Overton is now set up very well.
Best starting position of the game for the Bobcats at the Irish 43-yard line. That's where Sam Mast, the quarterback, will look at 1st and 10. It's going to be a handoff to Jefferson on that far side. He's got some speed. Look out. He's got the first down past the 30. Finally wrangled down out of bounds near the 25-yard line. David Jefferson is a senior, 5'9", 155. But what he lacks in size, he certainly makes up for in speed and acceleration. So Overton trying to counterpunch after stopping Father Ryan on 4th down. Bobcats trail by 2 touchdowns and 2 extra points. But a late score here, late in this first half, would definitely change the momentum. So 1st and 10 for Overton. With 10 seconds in the play clock, Mass is going to throw to the near side, receiver screen complete. But an excellent job by Father Ryan to sniff that one out.
And a good job to make sure he didn't work his way to the sideline and get out of bounds. Now we're still wasting clock, or they're going to have to call a timeout.
So Nick Watson on the stop. Last time calling his name on that offensive drive for the Irish when he took a hard hit. Obviously still able to be in there and to perform well for the Irish. It's a 2-yard loss, or a long one. Either way, the ball spotted at the Irish 27-yard line on this near hash mark. Overton has its full complement of timeouts. We passed the 2-minute mark of this second quarter. Mast. It's a bunch formation on this near side, very crowded. Play fake. Irish bring the pressure, and that's a major sack right there. A flag comes in late. Irish may get a penalty for celebration. So I hope that's not the case, but...
Look, I'm a very opinionated person, but when you have such an emotional game in football and you try, when you have young guys like this, you got to let them celebrate a little bit. Taunting is one thing, but celebration for making a good play is another.
It wasn't celebration, face mask, the call. Jackson Brown on the stop for the Irish.
Yeah, there was no celebration.
No, that wasn't that. But you never know how things might be interpreted, or things, in that case, that they're going to say a face mask, but...
We've seen it all from our good friends at the TSSAA.
Officials have a tough job, though. I tell you, I don't envy them for that. Got to make the call on the field. No instant replay where you look at something for 10 minutes and still get it wrong. Save that for the college level. So a minute 36, the clock is running, which is noteworthy here with 13 seconds on the play clock.
And they have all 3 timeouts.
Ball at the Irish 33-yard line. Don't know what kind of kicking range the Overton kicker might have. Fake the handoff. Mass can run with it. Look out. Gets past Russell. Russell slowed him up enough, though, to be brought down. Watson on the stop. The clock continues to run. A minute 12 and counting.
That's the first time we've seen him roll out outside the pocket on a designed run. He's usually kept it up the middle.
Trying to have the Irish guessing which way he's going to go, but on that one, not able to do very much for Overton. The ball at the Father Ryan 29-yard line. 3rd and 14 for Overton. They trail the Irish 14-0. Less than a minute to go here late in this first half. Trips receivers to the near side. Mass staring down his receiver on the far side. It's going to throw.
That was a push off.
Falls incomplete. Intended receiver C.J. Martin, the 6'2", 215-pound receiver, unable to bring it in.
You know, we really haven't seen any calls in the secondary on both sides of the ball other than holding. So they're letting them go at it a little bit tonight. We also haven't seen that much passing deep ball.
Grayson Hubbock in there in man coverage for the Irish. Junior defensive back. So 4th and 14 for Overton. Not in field goal range apparently, as they're going to line up to go for it. They have to get it just close to the 15-yard line of Father Ryan. So the Mass is back to pass, gets smashed. It's going to fall incomplete. And it's going to be a turnover on downs.
He has taken some hits tonight. What I don't understand is why did Overton not burn any of their timeouts? Try to come up with something.
Well, I don't have a good answer for you on that. Matthew Beacom with the hit there to stop things for that Overton offense. The only thing I could tell you, Owen, is if they were looking at a 2nd and long, perhaps they didn't want the Irish to get the ball back with very much time remaining. I don't know. But whatever the case, Father Ryan's defense came up stout when it needed to, when Overton had a chance where it looked like they could potentially switch things up a bit momentum-wise.
I understand that, but at the same time, you're already down 2 scores, and Father Ryan gets the ball to start the 3rd quarter, so they could potentially be up 3.
So on 1st and 10, it's going to be Antonio Wright running up the middle. Be about a yard or half yard shy of the first down. The clock continues to run. 22 seconds and counting. Father Ryan with 1 timeout remaining, but with a 2-touchdown lead and receiving the ball to start the second half, Father Ryan may opt just let the clock run on down here.
That does seem to be like what they're doing. They're in no hurry in the last 10 seconds, and Rector has indeed taken the headset off, and they'll be going to the locker room.
So, definitely some things to work on and adjust at halftime for the Irish, but overall a good job getting the score at the very end of that first quarter and then early in the second quarter. So we hit halftime. Your score, Father Ryan High School 14, Overton High School 0. We're going to take a break and back on the other side of halftime with the second half of this debut of the 2018 high school football season.
My drunk cousins call me, "Oh, mess my television up." And you're just gonna have to do it. I'll be talking about Oh, it's front loaded, ain't it?
Yeah, there's no
I just leave it alone.
Ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to the Father Ryan sideline and meet your 2018-2019 Father Ryan Dancers. Let's introduce our dancers, senior and captain Emily Camacho. Juniors, co-captain Kara Orlick. Al Kaufman. Jakaya Isabel. Alexa Malone. Cordelia Newton. Allie Tomachek. Izzy Teasler. Sophomores Grayson Preston and Allie Bergdorf. And freshman Kaya Harris. These ladies had a wonderful and eventful summer, particularly at the Universal Dance Association Camp under the direction of Alicia Brooks of the class of 2011. They took home the Leadership Award, Outstanding Coach Award, Superior Award for Performance Routine, second place in home routine, earning them a bid to nationals and winning the overall dance battle. Tonight, they'll be performing Top 40s Mix, where they will demonstrate 3 different styles. Give it up for the Father Ryan Dance Team.
Looks like that one.
I'll never be the same. I'll never be the same. You're in my mind, you're in my vein, you're in my head. It's moving, we never stop before the way that you're moving. You never try to run away, you see you Way to go, dancers. And now, one of the moments that makes a Friday night at Jim Carroll Alumni Athletic Complex so special. The arrival of the 2018 Father Ryan Marching Band. The band continues to set the standard as one of the premier programs in the nation with their innovative and exciting performances. Whether it's the Drumline's invented programs, or the Color Guard's synchronization, or the beauty of their music, they remain fan favorites on the local, regional, and national level. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the Father Ryan Marching Band under the direction of Jeremy Fry, along with Jeff and Derek Schletzer and Chad Bergstresser.
Is that it? Okay. You still got my information?
What's that?
You still got my information?
Yeah. You need anything call back to that.
Yeah. I probably right.
Thank you.
Approaching into halftime here, Giacosa Stadium. Father Ryan High School leading John Overton High School by the score of 14-0. Some other scores of interest from around Division II AAA and otherwise Father Ryan opponents coming up this season. Brentwood Academy just went to the half up 24-8, home against Hillsborough. CPA up 21-0 on Stratford. Stratford coming to this campus 2 weeks from tonight. And JP2 up 21-0 on Whites Creek. NBA up 28-0 at late in the second over Wooddale out of Memphis. Centennial up 28-14 on Ravenwood. Ravenwood be hosting Father Ryan for the first time ever later this season. Innsworth, last word, up 14-6 at Lipscomb Academy. Brentwood High and Franklin High School tied at 7. Brentwood High will be hosting the Irish as well later this season. And the McCauley game that started an hour before this one, it's already gone final, 21-0 McCauley. They called it at halftime due to inclement weather. So McCauley at 1-0 now, and Baylor, who won one night ago, over Chattanooga Notre Dame 35-14, also 1-0. The Irish won the opening coin toss and deferred, so because of that, they'll be receiving the kickoff to start this second half.
They definitely have an interesting opportunity to get up 3 scores if they come out all gears turning, firing on all cylinders. And we'll see here, we've got some discussion going on with the officials and some of the Overton players.
Sorry, as I look at my chart to try and find a number 18 for Overton. There is no 18 for Overton on this list, so.
Sometimes they just surprise us. They like to keep us on our toes.
So a deep kickoff by number 18 to be fielded around the 12-yard line to the 20, to the 25, to the 30, into the open field, to the 40, brought down from behind. That may be a horse collar tackle, a shove after the play too, no need for that. But a nice return for the Irish there, David Ward. Ward returning from that far side. There are no penalties on the play, so it'll be Irish ball to start this second half.
There have been some, technicality penalties like false starts and everything, but really they've let the players play this game. And for the most part, it has been, a little scrappy, but it is week 1, so, it's been a pretty good game so far.
The Irish with a touchdown late in the first quarter and then early in the second quarter. That's how we got to 14-0. Tabscott out of the gun. 4 receivers, 2 to either side on 1st and 10. A throw to the near side, complete. About a 5-yard gain or so. Richard Bryant, the sophomore, the sophomore on the reception.
Not gonna lie, that caught me off guard. I don't often remember Rector coming out with some scripted plays to start a drive with a pass.
Daniel Logan on the stop for Overton. Just underway here in this third quarter, the Irish leading 14-0. It's again 4 receivers, 3 to the far side as the Irish spread the field out. And Tabscott with 17 seconds on the play clock. It's going to be a handoff. Run up the middle, Antonio Wright. Spinning forward, he should have the first down. He needed to reach the 47-yard line of Overton. It appears he reached the 46, or at least the 46.5, and they'll wave the chain crew over. First down, Irish.
That Antonio Wright has been running with such a passion. To me, it reminds me of the way Russell Westbrook, the drive and the anger, pure anger he shows during a basketball game, reminds me of the same way.
Not going to take a charge on this one, though. 1st and 10 Irish, 11 minutes to go, third quarter. Father Ryan up 14-0. It's the throw to the far side, complete. Tabscott on the money with the throw. And it's going to take 4 or 5 defenders for Overton to make the tackle on Linehan.
The most impressive thing I've seen from him is the way he's been able to throw the ball out. Nothing really over the middle for the Irish. It's been deeper out to the sides. And with the young quarterback, that can be dangerous because sometimes they don't read, safety's picking up, and that is dangerous throws. But he has been so good tonight. 2nd and 3, the Irish move quick to the line. They just now start the play clock. And now Father Ryan will survey the defense. And we have a whistle. Overton's going to take a timeout. This is really surprising to me. Considering they didn't take a timeout when they probably should have to end the half last time. But, hey, coaches do what coaches do.
So Overton didn't like the look defensively they had. So at the 10:26 mark of this third quarter, Father Ryan, after taking the opening kickoff back close to midfield, a couple of receptions to open things up, and now it'll be 2nd and 3 for Father Ryan with the ball at the Overton 39-yard line. Irish a chance to talk things over on this near sideline. Likewise for the Bobcats on that far sideline.
Lou, so far we've seen a couple plays, nothing really unfamiliar from what No really adjustments really I've seen other than they look really, really clean. I imagine the adjustments they made up on the field at halftime had to have been with the line. They're kind of a younger line at times with some of their packages they have. There are some issues there with some jumping, so I believe that's probably the most thing they probably worked on up at halftime.
Irish are going to spread out this Overton defense again. It's a 4-receiver look with 3 to the near side. And as usual, working out of the shotgun, DC Tabscott, the sophomore quarterback. And his first start's going to hand the ball off. Antonio Wright, he should have the first down. He needed to reach about the 43.5-yard line. Actually, I'm reading that wrong. He's got the first down. He got all the way down to the 35-yard line of Overton.
And two things about spreading them out. You notice they've run that option, but DC has not kept it once this game. He hasn't had to. And by spreading them out, Antonio Wright has had a lot of opportunities to really gas it up the middle.
Those linebackers have to pay attention to the outside, especially the slot receivers on the quick throw from Tabscott. It's going to fall incomplete. Intended for Evan Ruers. And Ruers expected to be a key player out of the slot at receiver this season. The play itself was good. The execution not as much, and it's 2nd and 10 for Father Ryan. 10-12 to go third quarter. The Irish leading 14-0.
Sometimes we all just get first game jitters, stuff like that happens. We move on.
But you notice with Tabscott as he throws the ball, he's that tight spiral. I mean, not just a strong arm. I've seen some of that scrimmage video of him throwing the ball 40, 45 yards in the air. It's remarkable. But on top of that, if you can throw accurately, and that's the way the game has changed more than ever. And passing is key, but you've got to be accurate with that throw. And some of the Irish trust Tabscott to do that. 10-12 to go here in this third quarter. Father Ryan leading 14-0, trying to add more. Tabscott's going to throw a little receiver screen to the near far side, I should say. That's Michael Linehan on the catch. About a 2 or 3 yard gain before being stopped by a host of Overton defenders.
And I think what is really important to remember, this kid is a sophomore playing quarterback. This is his first game, and he is playing with such good accuracy. It's tremendous. I can't wait to see what he looks like as a senior.
The Irish will make a personnel change and bring Noah Haley into the game. Senior coming in on this 3rd and 6, 9:40 to go, third quarter. Father Ryan leads 14-0. So with 13 seconds to go in the play clock, the Irish break the huddle. Now looking at 8 seconds on this play clock on this 3rd and 6. 3 seconds. Irish get the play off in time. Tabscott on the run's going to throw. Falls incomplete. Intended for Ruers. A good job defensively for Overton. Samari Burns breaks that one up.
And really, that was a very tight pass. I'm very impressed that he got that in that window. Just sometimes defenders make good plays like that.
Well, and Burns, he's 5'11", 165-pound senior. Remember him from last season. He's a good defender. And there's some individual players in this Overton team that are very skilled. But Father Ryan thus far has been able to have their number. So 4th and 6, the Irish with the ball at the Overton 31-yard line, that no man's land. They're going to line up to go for it. Too long for Wisnowski to try would be close to 52-yard field goal. He wouldn't want to do that. Tabscott's going to heave it deep. He's got Ruers, double coverage, and it's going to fall incomplete.
It is very tightly covered. Ruers just misjudged which side the ball was going to come down on and was just too late to react. But once again, a very good thrown ball by DC Tabscott.
Tabscott putting that ball where basically only Ruers could get to it. A pair of defenders, Michael Kidd and Burns, who I just mentioned, that made the previous defensive play, both right there, but the ball thrown deep enough where they weren't able to reach it. With Ruers able to really pick it up, maybe couldn't see it in the lights or whatever the case, it falls incomplete. So turnover on downs. Overton has its first offensive possession this second half, down 14-0, 9:08 to go third quarter.
With it only being the first week, those are the types of plays you hope to see by week 3, week 4. Those are the plays that work.
Beautiful throw, though. I mean, it's going to be fun watching him the next couple of years throw the ball, because it's certainly win or lose. He throws some nice spirals. 1st and 10 now. Overton tries to get something going on offense. Mass is going to hand it off to Jefferson.
And he is just swarmed. Oh, my goodness.
And you can tell Father Ryan is keying on the running game right there. David Jefferson, as mentioned before, he's only 5'9", 155. Not one of those, numbers from 2 years ago. Doesn't reflect the proper stats. He's just not a very big guy, but he's very sneaky as far as being able to sneak in and out. Very slippery. Irish able to swarm on him there, 2-yard gain.
What you just saw on your screen was the signature, for me at least, of the Coach Rector era. The hard-pressed, just really fantastic run defense.
2nd and 8. 8 minutes, 30 seconds to go. Third quarter, the Irish leading the Bobcats 14-0. Sam Mast out of that pistol formation. He's going to throw high pass. It's going to fall incomplete. Intended receiver, Robert Carlew. Hunter Hopkins there on the coverage at corner. His second season starting at corner for this Father Ryan Irish defense. So 3rd and 8 now for Overton.
It's going to be interesting to see if they go back to the air here or if they try, another quarterback draw like we saw early in the first half. They had some success with that.
And Sam Mast is a threat to run with the ball out of that quarterback position.
And not an easy target to bring down.
No, he's got some size to him.
He does. He's got a lot of build in the shoulders. He's a very, broad quarterback.
4 receivers from Mast. Irish bring some pressure. They try and set up a delayed screen for Jefferson. It falls incomplete. That play never really had a chance, and that's where the defensive pressure from Father Ryan really caused some problems there for the Bobcats. So 4th and 8 for Overton. 8:13 to go third quarter. Father Ryan leads 14-0.
Parker Erdman back deep to receive for your Irish as Overton goes into punt formation.
Erdman has had some, at least a pair of fair catches made. A bit of a high snap. Mast, the quarterback, also the punter, gets it up. Erdman wisely gets away from it. It's going to take an Overton bounce past the 25-yard line and then be down right at the 25-yard line. So a good punt by Mast.
What was interesting about that is what I noticed, not a lot of return coverage set up for Erdman, and also at the same time there was nothing really in the backfield, no pressure, so kind of interesting. Everyone was kind of crowded around midfield right there for the Irish.
Father Ryan didn't want to give up any trick plays or have Overton try and get a first down conversion, just allow the punt to happen, and if they get it deep, as they did, then bully to them. So Overton pins Father Ryan back at the 25-yard line. That's where the Irish will start this drive, 1st and 10. 7:57 to go here in the third quarter, I should say. It's a handoff. Just a bunch of bodies in there.
And, one of the reasons, you might not get too much excitement is, yes, this is a big rivalry series. It's a tight rivalry series. Father Ryan has won the last, 4 out of 5 earlier. And so, you're not, when you have a top nationally ranked team next week, you're probably not going to see a lot of excitement for this game. I'm really impressed that, even though they haven't scored, you've seen a lot of consistent ball moving, running the same set of plays.
So on 2nd and 8, 7:20 to go in this third quarter. They're going to set the screen. Tabscott's got to be careful as he be brought to the ground. Overton sniffed that one out. C.J. Martin. Number 7 Martin in there on number 7 Tabscott. Tabscott was lucky to get the ball away. Wasn't grounding as they were trying to set up a screen, and he had a eligible receiver in the vicinity. So now 3rd and 8. The clock stopped. 7:03 to go third quarter. Father Ryan leads Overton 14-0.
Lou, I think we need to look to see if they're going to roll him out again like we saw in the second quarter. Throw it back the other way, since we'll see what happens here.
2 receivers on either side. A running back on the left hip. Tabscott's going to throw deep, has a receiver open, and it's complete. A beautiful catch. David Ward.
David Ward has some of the best hands on this team, and just what an effort. I mean, what an effort. To fly to the middle of the field like that with your head up, I mean, that's an incredible catch.
Been a while since Father Ryan's had a quarterback that can get the ball that far down the field that quickly, and that's not denigrating anybody else. That's just the power of Tabscott.
With Seamus O'Connell, what you noticed, I like to point this out. He did a phenomenal job for the setup he came into. He was a Wildcat trained quarterback only. The last time he had to really play a normal quarterback offense was when he was playing 8th grade at Christ the King. So give him credit last year. Without Pfeiffer being in there, he was really the guy that they were looking to pass the ball around.
On 1st and 10, the handoff, Antonio Wright to the near side. He'll gain 9 yards. Just shy of the first down marker, the ball at the Overton 30-yard line. Irish quick to the line of scrimmage. 4 receivers, 3 to the far side. 6:15 to go third quarter. Father Ryan leads 14-0. Trying to add some more here. It's going to be another handoff. Antonio Wright. Couple of yards, but that's enough to move the chains. Another first down for this Father Ryan offense.
And there's a lot of pad popping going down there whenever Antonio Wright's been coming down through. Very fun football, old school football to watch.
And pad on pad, just go up there and try and strike on the rise for him. Tackle versus trying to block and stop you on the offense. Charlton Sudduth was player in that inside defensive line for Overton. Less than 6 minutes to go in this third quarter. 1st and 10 Irish with trips to the far side. Tabscott's under pressure. Somehow keeps his feet. He's going to throw against his body. Ill-advised interception by Overton.
That's one of those young mistakes you make, and one of the ones in the film room when you're going to slouch down your seat and be like, oh my goodness, did I really actually do that? But, I mean, he's played a really good game this far, but sometimes that stuff happens.
So KJ Baker with the interception. First turnover for the Irish. There's a player a little slow to get up for Overton. It's going to slow things up for a moment.
Yeah. But sometimes moments like this will, you teach quarterbacks to learn that sometimes you just can't always make the play. Sometimes you just have to throw the ball away. Even when it looks like it's there, when you're throwing across your body like that, it's not.
It's almost like, Brett Favre in his prime. He would do some crazy throws, but there's a reason that they don't teach it that way because it's ill-advised. But again, that's a learning experience there for Tapscott.
Little Archie Manning just kind of running around, except Archie, somehow always made the play.
Well, again, there's a reason the names are remembered decades later, and not just because of his children. So a couple of players actually receiving some attention for Overton, and that includes KJ Baker, who made the interception. It's a clean play to bring him down, perhaps had the wind knocked out of him. And actually a second player for Overton receiving some attention as well. Here in the second half, hopefully at least when you see situations like this, it's a cramping up, the heat and the humidity getting to the players. 87 degrees. The way it felt at kickoff, I think the actual temperature was 83, but it feels like 88. So it's cooled down a bit, but still a hot, humid night. We've been fortunate to avoid the rainstorms. They were saying 50-50 chance on that for tonight. Looks like we've dodged that.
I brought my rain jacket just in case, and the way, we were talking about a couple of buddies of mine, it's like, if we don't bring our rain jackets, we're going to get soaked. If we do bring them, we won't even use them.
Well, better to have it, not need it, than need it and not have it, the way I look at it. So there's a bit of a delay here as they continue to, looks like a cramp for that Overton player. They're going to help him up over to the sideline. Number 16 for Overton.
And in the final minute of halftime, BA and Hillsborough about to get going again. We'll keep you updated on games and a couple more games like that throughout our broadcast. So please stay tuned. We'll have those updates with you very shortly.
Of course, Brentwood Academy 1 week from tonight. Be here at Giacosa Stadium to take on the Irish. So after the interception and the long delay, 1st and 10 Overton from their own 26-yard line. Father Ryan leads 14-0 midway through here in the third quarter. Jefferson with a run to the outside, but it gets blown up quite nicely by that Father Ryan defense.
Lou, I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, probably I think my freshman year, Brentwood Academy was our homecoming, and that was back when their whole line was going D1. So you can imagine, not the best homecoming game experience when you're faced up with that kind of challenge, but still a very exciting game nonetheless.
And Jackson Brown on the stop for the Irish on that last play. It was actually a half-yard loss, so he gets the tackle for loss credited to him. Approaching the 5-minute mark of the third quarter, Father Ryan leads Overton 14-0.
This quarter seems like it's gone by a little slower than the first two.
Certainly a bit of a methodical pace. And with 5 seconds on the play clock, Sam Mast out of the pistol. A little trouble with the snap. He's going to throw as a receiver. Open. No, he's not open. He's intercepted. A beautiful play for Father Ryan. William Edmondson.
Edmondson doesn't make that jump, doesn't make that play. He's got open green grass, and that's an Overton touchdown. That is one heck of an athletic, instinctive play.
Samari Burns was open. Burns had the opportunity to potentially go to the house, but there's a reason they trust Edmondson as a sophomore to play free safety.
And that's because he can do that.
Exactly. That precisely. So Father Ryan forcing the turnover with the tremendous athleticism. So then on top of that, Overton will be assessed a 15-yard personal foul penalty. They'll tack on to the end of the interception return by Edmondson.
So we'll be at the Overton 34, maybe in business. Let's see how DC comes back from that interception. I imagine he'll come back throwing.
It's going to be a 3-receiver look. That H-back toward that far side. 2 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near. And the Irish lined up on that near hash mark for 1st and 10. It's going to be a handoff. Antonio Wright finding a hole, cutting through. Hole closed rather quickly, but not before he gained maybe 3.5 or 4 yards. So it'll be second and about 7 for the Irish.
Got some more bodies piled up down, and we got a timeout. I think another Overton player is down.
And again, this is where players in this second half, the way that they've done it the last several years, starting football in mid-August, it's a night game, that humidity certainly can play a role. So that Overton player will receive some attention on the sideline. Again, we mentioned 3 home games to start this season for the Irish
And
tonight.
a very early start, too.
Well, just the fact that you've got, Division II AAA play starting 1 week from tonight with BA, and then at Stratford playing here again. Last year, you'll recall Father Ryan was supposed to play at Stratford. Then they had the flooding, the remnants of Hurricane Harold, I think it was,
Yes.
when it devastated Houston. And because of that, the game had to be moved one day because metro schools are out, and that's the rule. Apparently the field was not in great condition either, so it worked out
Grass
for the best.
field had some poor drainage issues.
So on Saturday morning, they played. Father Ryan wore their white jerseys here, which may have been the first time for a varsity game wearing white on their home field, even though they're technically the road team.
And just a little sneak peek, don't quote me on this, but talks, you might see that in a home game here very soon.
Do they allow that at TWSAA? I thought they were very strict about that. Maybe not.
From what I was told by, I'm not going to name anyone off here, but it
don't-
was someone who
yeah, don't-
worked for
don't
the
your
school.
sources.
Yeah, I'm not going to reveal my sources or anything, but I was told that as long as the other team is well informed and knows that they are supposed to wear their home jerseys, we can do that. But don't quote me on that.
Player injured for Overton was number 65, Richard Velasquez.
And it's good to see him getting up on his own power. We'll see maybe an upper body injury. A lot of pad popping down there. He was in that pile with Antonio.
4:20 to go, third quarter. Father Ryan leads 14-0. Another run up the middle. Antonio Wright, he'll have the first down. And you can tell that momentum, Father Ryan, that solid commitment to the run paying off. Line getting the push, Wright getting the push, and another first down for the Irish.
And Lou, what I think we're starting to see with Overton, you mentioned that there's a lot of players playing both sides of the ball. Well, now with the cramping up, it's a hot August night. I mean, we might not be seeing the effects of that.
Approaching 4 minutes to go in this third quarter. Handoff to Antonio Wright, and he'd be lucky if he got back to the line of scrimmage as Overton sniffed that one out. So the Irish are going to make a substitution.
That was one of the more outside runs that they've done tonight. They're one of those edge runs, but didn't work out there.
Irish bring in Noah Haley into the game, number 44. In the H-back role, it's a 3-receiver look otherwise, with 2 to the near side bunched up and 1 receiver far. Tab Scott on 2nd and 10. Another handoff to number 10, Antonio Wright. And again, to that big pile of bodies, a couple of yards maybe, but one thing to go with it, the clock continues to run. And the longer this game goes with it, Father Ryan leading 14-0, the more the clock is the friend of the Irish.
The goal is not to score. The goal is to run simple offense, become more efficient, find a groove. There's nothing flashy about this game. This is not a district game, especially when you have a nationally ranked team coming into your house next week. Nothing about here is coming out to impress. This is just about consistent football at this point.
Irish moving some players around, only 11 seconds on the play clock, less than 3 minutes to go here in this third quarter. Father Ryan leading 14-0. 3rd and 9 for Tab Scott. Overton brings some pressure. He throws a deep pass intended for Rewers. Rewers didn't really have a chance for it. It was just over his head. And he had the dangerous Samari Burns right on him.
Tab Scott was facing a lot of pressure. He had 3 guys coming from each angle, both sides and up front.
And that's something he's going to have to deal with this season. He's quarterback for the Irish. And so Wesnowski's coming out for what will be his first field goal attempt of the 2018 season, talking about what his range might be.
I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't a field goal attempt at all.
Well,
we never really know.
This will be a 38-yard attempt at the 2:33 marker of the third quarter. Bit of a low snap. Kick is up. It's spinning. It's going to be close.
Good. He got it.
And he splits the uprights. Not by much, but enough to get there. So Zach Wesnowski, his first field goal of the season, is good from 38 yards out. And that gives Father Ryan a 3-possession lead, now up 17-0 on the Bobcats.
We're going to take a quick break here on the ATW Behind the Crest Sports Networks. We'll be right back.
Irish prepare to kick off, now leading by 3 possessions, 17-0. The lead over the Overton Bobcats. And Zach Wisnowski, who just kicked that 38-yard field goal, prepares to kick off for the Irish. This will be his 4th kickoff of the game for Father Ryan. All 3 of them in that intermediate length high spinning kick, one of which Father Ryan actually recovered after it was muffed by an Overton return man. This is a deeper kick. It's going to be fielded, played at the 10-yard line to the 15, to the 20, slips, and finally goes out of bounds, close to the 20-yard line, so not quite the effect of a touchback, but nevertheless pitting Overton back deep in their own territory.
Don't expect to see that again for a while. That's not really the style that we've grown used to on the kickoffs. It's usually short, high, and you're trying to kick it to guys, especially at this level of play, that aren't really used to catching the ball. You're trying to kick it to some bigger blockers that really aren't as hands-on with the football.
Nick Ledoux with a stop for Father Ryan on special teams there. So it'll be actually even better than a touchback. 1st and 10 from the 19-yard line for Overton. There's 3 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far. Mass is going to keep it himself. Looks like a design keeper. He's going to run to the 25. And he'll be knocked to the ground there. Good clean hit. So
I believe that's the second outside run we've seen like that from him. That one, picked up 7 yards. That was a very good run. Good tackle there too.
Less than 2 minutes to go here in this third quarter. Overton trails Father Ryan 17-0. The Bobcats are trying to get it going here. 4 receivers, 2 to either side. Sam Mast out of the pistol formation. Irish only bring 3. Go back into coverage. And the ball's incomplete. That was a beautiful throw on the money. Maybe not, from a spiral standpoint, but it was right there. Ball's incomplete, and the intended receiver for Overton slow to get up on that Irish sideline. So 1:34 to go, third quarter. Father Ryan leads Overton 17-0.
We got another injury timeout. Overton player bent over on the Father Ryan sideline.
Yeah, and I was the intended receiver, and I didn't get a look at the number before. That's just the reality of our view of the field and the Father Ryan team on the sideline there.
We also saw, I noticed, number 55, Torrey Heron limping off the field. Didn't seem to be too serious in the injury. Maybe just another one. It looked like another one of those cramps.
Lineman came over to check over on his teammate, and now back up and going. It's Michael Kidd. Looks to be okay. Again, there was no contact, and sometimes that's the scariest thing when a guy falls like that, but in this case, looks to be okay, leaving the field on his own power. It'll be 3rd and 3 for Overton from their own 26-yard line. Father Ryan leads 17-0. 1:34 to go, third quarter.
Can't wait to see what they do, if they're going to try to run Mast on the inside again, or try to bounce him out again, or if they'll try another pass. That was a very good pass by Mast, but just a little bit of a wonky spiral.
Mast will keep it himself. You were right on that, Owen. They'll have the first down past the 30-yard line, finally tackled at the Overton 33-yard line. So Mast moves the chains.
Well, I just think, like I said earlier with the Steve Spurrier philosophy, you got to do, especially if you've got to do something, run the same play until someone learns to stop it, then try and do something else.
Looked like it was Edmondson, the safety, in there on the stop for the Irish. 1:17 to go, third quarter. Father Ryan leads 17-0. Overton with the 1st and 10 from its own 32-yard line. And that pistol formation they like to use. Mast thought about throwing. He's going to run with it now. They'll have maybe a 2-yard gain.
Initial contact right there. Matthew Zito was there, make the first hit to slow him down. Then a couple more Irish defenders came and finished it off.
Maybe Zach Smith finally finishing. It's tough to tell because his bodies are flying around out there.
There's a lot of purple jerseys just swarming over the ball, and I like to see it rather than not seeing it.
Well, that's the idea defensively for the Irish.
At least they're giving us a better way to look at the numbers now.
Yeah, these new uniforms for both teams actually make it more legible on both sides. Mass is going to hand the ball off. Maybe a 2 or 3 yard gain. That may be the last play of this third quarter. We'll see. Evian Green on the carry. And with 12 seconds and counting, and Overton not particularly looking to be in a hurry, that probably will be the final play of this third quarter. They're going to break the huddle, but they're going to run out of time.
They seem to be unaware of where the clock is at.
So Overton, if nothing else, will have the chance to talk things over for 3rd and 5 when we get back. After 3 quarters, your score, Father Ryan 17, Overton 0. We'll be right back here on the ATW Sportscast. We start the 4th quarter here at Giacosa Stadium on the campus of Father Ryan High School. Lou Pickney and Owen Dougharty with you here on the call, as Overton looks at 3rd and 5 from its own 37-yard line. They're going to run it up the middle. 2 yards at best.
Who's got the ball? A little confused. Nick Watson had the ball coming out of the pile, but I think they're going to say he was down, and it's going to be 4th down anyway, but would have been some nice field position for DC to work with had they just called it a fumble.
Maybe a half-yard loss on that one. Or maybe a half-yard gain the way they moved it, actually. So 4th and 4 as the clock ticks away here early in this 4th quarter. Father Ryan leads 17-0. Overton. Now the Irish have to be careful not to jump here. It's 4th and less than 5. Oh, they're going to punt it. Sam Massey's actually going to punt it. An end-over-end kick. The Irish need to get away from that one if they can.
Oh, no.
It was a muff.
Oh, no.
It was muffed but picked up and recovered. So Parker Erdman.
He's got some quick reactions, I'll give him that, but that scared me for a second. That's just one of those things, had they recovered, that's what gets, things like that gets teams going when they're down.
Turnovers on special teams can be absolutely killer, especially at the high school level. Luckily for the Irish, they were able to recover that one. And with a 17-point lead at home here in the 4th quarter, looking at 1st and 10 from their own 27-yard line. It's Tab Scott out of the gun with a 3-receiver look. It's going to hand the ball off. Antonio Wright tried to spin out of a tackle, maybe got back to the line of scrimmage.
You know, what I'm seeing right now is, I know Tab Scott's not the fastest guy, but what I'm seeing right now is something I saw with Justin Worley a long time ago at Tennessee, about 5 years ago, where they would run the option, but he would never take it. Eventually, Tab Scott's got to take one of these. The field, the grass is there. He could keep, if he kept that ball, he could have gotten the 1st down just right out of bounds. No one would have been there to stop him.
Instead, only a 1-yard gain for the Irish. 2nd and 9, Father Ryan at its own 28-yard line. 10:30 to go in the 4th quarter. The throw is tipped, falls incomplete. It was a dangerous play right there with that ball tipped up in the air like that. Micah Kimball was right there for Overton, able to bring it in, but if he had, there would be nothing between him and a pick 6. That stops the clock. 10 minutes, 26 seconds to go 4th quarter. Father Ryan up 17-0.
That was the first slant routes play we've seen that where DC has made the pass all night on the slant.
So it's 2 receivers tight to this near side. Send the man in motion. Fake the jet sweep. They're going to set up the screen. Falls incomplete. Intended for Antonio Wright.
He was very well covered, Antonio Wright was, and Overton not giving up on this one yet. They are playing with some intensity on defense right now.
Yeah, that was Adams Diamande, one of their very talented defensive ends.
Seemed
right there.
In formation go for it. Might be the situation where you might see the pooch.
Well, they've got to punt it here. There's no way. 4th and 9, up 17 points in the fourth quarter.
There goes the punt. There goes.
Yeah, so Wisnowski gets out there with 8 seconds on the play clock. I mean, this game counts. This isn't a glorified scrimmage here. They're going to have to. And now with 2 seconds on the play clock.
Well, they waved, the officials stopped the clock a second ago. He waved it off with about 8 seconds left.
I don't have an answer for what's going on right now.
We're not really sure. Wisnowski came out and then came right back off.
So the Irish will punt. At least that's how they're lining up. End over end kick. Fielded with a fair catch cleanly. Just on the other side of the 40-yard line by Overton. Herrera with the fair catch. So after all that, it'll be 1st and 10 Overton. But Father Ryan leads by 3 possessions. 10-12 to go here in the fourth quarter.
Here's what I think we're going to see from Overton here on this drive. You're going to see some quick passing, and you're also going to see a lot of running by Mast.
They're going to have to do something. Try and jumpstart this offense. Defensively, Father Ryan has managed to, by and large, keep this Overton Bobcats offense stymied. And that's a team that has some talent at the skill positions. The Irish have done a good job of containing. It's a 4-receiver look, 2 on either side for Mast on this 1st and 10. He's going to heave it deep. Long throw intended for Burns. It's going to fall incomplete. Hunter Hopkins right there to ensure that Burns was able to turn on the jets to get to it. Falls incomplete, 2nd and 10.
That's another thing I've been really impressed with tonight. This Father Ryan secondary seems very well coached and trained and prepped for this game. They've had fantastic coverage throughout the game. And they've been making some big plays.
Yeah, you think about, Hopkins the senior and Seamus O'Connell the senior at the corner positions, and then some. As we get a whistle here, so Grayson Hubbock in there at corner, and that's going to be important for the Irish this season. Hubbock a junior, but
that was another one of those mysterious whistles we've been getting from the officials tonight.
Yeah, I don't have an explanation for that. Nevertheless, 2nd and 10 Overton, ball thrown 40-yard line, 10 minutes and change to go. It's going to be Mast keeping it himself. He'll have the first down. Hard hit brings him down in Father Ryan territory around the 48-yard line of the Irish.
So I said he has had the most success when he has created a play for his own tonight. That's where John Overton has had the most success. I'll look for some more design stuff here on this drive.
Overton has only won 1 game here at Giacosa Stadium. The second year the stadium was open in 2010. Of course, as mentioned earlier, Irish have won 4 of the last 5 meetings. Keep in mind the 2 teams didn't play in 2015 and 2016, but the Franklin Road rivalry has been renewed here for a 2nd season. And 1st and 10, Mast is going to throw deep, a nice spiral. Ball over the head of the intended receiver, Bayless. They had Grayson Hubbock right there with him.
Hubbock, and they were going right back and forth right there down the field. A good no call right there.
A couple of ways they could have looked at that, whether it was uncatchable or just letting them go at it out there.
Well, from what I saw in the past 3 years with how some of these things are going, I'm really impressed with how they've just let it play because it has been a very, back and forth fair game.
2nd and 10, Overton at the Father Ryan 49-yard line. 9:43 to go, fourth quarter. With 12 seconds on the play clock, Mast is going to get the snap, roll to the near side, throw downfield, has a receiver open, and it was knocked away. A great job defensively. Late coverage by Hopkins to get there and knock it out.
Yeah, definitely a good play. Like I said just a minute ago, the secondary has been there in coverage all night. Very good job.
Intended receiver Nathan Wilson. Yet another one of these seniors on this Overton team that is very senior heavy. But they trail the Irish 17-0. 9:33 to go, fourth quarter. 3rd and 10. Overton has the ball at the Irish 49-yard line. It's trips receivers to the far side, one to the near. Mast going to keep it himself to the 45. That'll be right down to the 43-yard line. Ankle tackle brings him down.
one of the dangers about using a quarterback with his legs is you get injuries sometimes. And, I think Overton at first may have tried to not go away from having to run their quarterback, but I think at this point they feel that that's what they need to do.
So Dylan Timmons on the stop. Only a sophomore. We're asking him to do quite a bit at the linebacker position. Able to bring down Mast, not the easiest thing to do. So it's 4th and 3 for Overton. They're going to go for it here in all likelihood, down by 17 points with less than 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. They need to get the ball to the Father Ryan 39-yard line to get a first down. It's a high snap. Whistles blow as the flags fly in.
I think we're going to see a false start here. I didn't see any defensive movement, so I'm assuming that's the only thing that's going to be that or some kind of like illegal formation.
It could be a delay of game depending on how long the play clock ran down. No, it's a false start. So a false start for Overton. 4th and 3 turns into 4th and 8. And it looks like Overton they're going to line up like they're going to punt. I don't know if I believe that, though, because their punter is also their quarterback Mast.
Well, I think what they tried to do, they sent out several players that could play different formations, and so now they've got confused. A lot of players came on and off there. It's kind of confusing seeing if they can keep Father Ryan off guard.
Amari Chapman getting to the sideline for the Irish. A high punt. Goes out of bounds. Almost dangerous there for the Irish.
The only end game I saw with hopefully doing that was pin the Irish deep, get good field position, or maybe think if they can get Erdman to muff it again and have another shot. That's the only two reasons I can see that they would do that.
Well, dangerous the way it fell. Grayson Hubbock was in the area, and that's where the blockers for those punt returns are also potentially, it's a dangerous thing. If that bounces off them, then suddenly it's a live ball Overton could fall on, but not the way it happened. Instead, the ball scooted out of bounds right at the 20-yard line of the Irish. And on the far hash, the Irish will start 1st and 10, 80 yards away from the Overton end zone, but leading 17-0, 8:35 to go fourth quarter. Again, 1 week from tonight, Father Ryan will be hosting Brentwood Academy here at Giacosa Stadium on 1st and 10. It's going to be a handoff and slicing through for the first down, Antonio Wright.
Overton really packed the jump, bunched them together on the defensive line right there, but still was not able to stop Antonio Wright, who to me is a well-oiled machine tonight.
He's played very well for the Irish in this one, that's for sure.
I can't wait to get the stat line on his average yards right now.
Be interesting to look at that when that information becomes available. 4 receivers on this 1st and 10, 8:13 to go fourth quarter. Father Ryan leads 17-0 over Overton. Antonio Wright moved to the left to the right hip of Tab Scott, handed off. Wright with possibly a 2-yard gain there. But more importantly for the Irish, the clock continues to run. Less than 8 minutes to go in this fourth quarter.
The pocket quickly collapsed around and no real hole for Antonio Wright to do, just kind of tucked it under and went for it.
The clock stops. I don't have a good answer as to why.
It's just one of the mysterious things we are unsure about tonight, Lou.
The play clock's running, but the game clock finally gets going again. I don't have an answer for that. 7:50 to go fourth quarter.
And the signal just went for it to run again.
They shouldn't have stopped in the first place. I don't get that. Here's Tab Scott throwing deep.
Man.
David.
Oh, he caught it. He caught it. He caught it.
It's complete.
Oh, my goodness. I believe that was David Ward again. He has had a spectacular night. I believe that it was him or Rewers. It was someone
No,
with
it was. That was 2 8s, not just 1, 2 8s. David Ward getting deep.
I mean,
Yeah.
that is a...
What
I
do you
mean,
think?
he's a sophomore.
That's what I'm saying.
Good Lord.
And that's the arm strength I'm talking about right there for Tab Scott. And to think he's only a sophomore. 1st and 10 for the Irish. A 17-point lead in the fourth quarter, and they got the ball at the Overton 20-yard line. It's going to be a handoff. Antonio Wright. And he'll be stood up after maybe a 1-yard gain.
And another thing you'll notice is how improved the wide receiving core is this year. Not necessarily players, but just a lot of times last year there were a lot of drop balls on makeable catches. And tonight you're not really seeing that. You're seeing a lot of good catches from Irish receivers and a lot of playmaking.
Past the 7-minute mark of this fourth quarter. Father Ryan 17, Overton 0. And with 15 seconds on the play clock, Irish content to take their time getting to the line of scrimmage.
I am a little surprised, though, that Rector went with the deep play right there, or Coach Tavo, whoever called it.
Well, then right after that, Father Ryan with a false start. It was a hard count by Tab Scott, and looked like Rewers almost jumped, but kept himself from jumping out of that slot receiver position, but then a couple of linemen apparently moved, so ball moves 5 yards back for the Irish, 2nd and 13, but the clock runs once again.
One of the things about football that I've never really understood is how the defense can jump and get back and it's not a penalty, but the offense can't do the same if the defense doesn't react.
Handoff, Antonio Wright to the near side. Well, the way it used to be even worse. You could be on offense. A defensive player could move into the neutral zone and distract you, and you moved, it was on you. And then finally somebody smarted up and realized, hey, that's not the best way to do this. And so that, now it's a penalty if an offensive player moves when a defensive player is in the neutral zone.
It's just one of the things I don't understand. I'm sure they have a good reason for it, but I just understand how the defense can move back, and without reaction, it's not a penalty, but the offense can't do the same and correct itself.
Well, the defense got multiple guys running toward the line of scrimmage. It's, it's different. They're trying to stop the offense. It's just the way the game is. I don't have
like
the
I said,
history lesson for why.
There's a good reason behind it. That's just one of the things I've never really understood.
Father Ryan's going to be content to let the clock run down on this 3rd and 9. And they take a timeout with 1 second to go on the play clock. That's only their first timeout used in the second half. So Father Ryan leading 17-0, looking at a 3rd and 10 with the ball at the Overton 20-yard line.
What I think we're about to see, you're not going to see anything special. It's not about scoring. It's going to definitely be a run, keeping the clock running, and then hopefully move it towards the middle of the field for a good kick from Wisnowski. Put him up by 20.
I don't know. I think it's always about, if you're on offense, you're trying to score, unless it's like you're taking a knee. But you want to play smart, though.
Like I said,
the same token.
another thing about that is because it's not necessarily, this is a very intense game, not trying to knock Overton at all. But when you have a nationally ranked opponent coming in your building next week, you've got to keep all your cards to the table.
Well, and you're right. They wouldn't want to show off any trick plays with the Irish that would possibly tip off Brentwood Academy. But it's not like BA's at the beginning and the end of that schedule for the Irish. Division II AAA is about as tough as it gets, at least in the state of Tennessee, in my opinion.
I believe it is the toughest of the tough. The competition in this conference is just unreal for AAA.
Of course, after the public-private split, that's more than 20 years ago. But luckily, public and private teams can still play in the regular season, allowing rivalries like this one to continue.
And, a rivalry we haven't seen since Rector's first year is the Hillwood rivalry. That's one that's been, as that went away, John Overton came back.
They rolled the schedule back around, and Hillwood is off the schedule. This is the second year of the 2 years. Every 2 years they redo it, so. But that's on down the road to figure out for 2019 and beyond. 3rd and 9 for the Irish. I fake the jet sweep handoff.
Oh my
Antonio
goodness.
Wright. Run a truck through there into the end zone. Touchdown, Irish.
I was a little surprised they saw the jet sweep. You mentioned earlier we weren't expecting jet sweep at all, but that worked perfectly. Untouched.
Some nice blocking, Overton out of position, and that's where, again, the exhaustion for guys playing both sides of the ball. Some talented players in that Overton team, make no mistake, but Father Ryan's game plan has paid off. The solid commitment to the run, and then the touchdown there, Antonio Wright, makes it 23-0 Father Ryan with the Wisnowski extra point pending. Kick is up, and the kick is good. So 5:34 to go here at Giacosa Stadium. Father Ryan leading 24-0 over Overton, a team that it beat 1 year ago at Overton, 35-12. And it really is, looking out in the crowd here from what I can see from this limited view of the crowd from my vantage point, nice turnout here for the Irish for this opening week game. Of course, BA next week. I imagine there's going to be a packed house for that as well. This Overton rivalry, of course, goes back to the days of the old campus, but with Father Ryan moving much closer to Overton beginning with the fall 1991 school year, the rivalry became that much more heated. You think about back, if you look in the old days, there were 2 times that Father Ryan had 1 loss in the regular season. That was to Overton. So Overton had a run for quite a while. They won consecutive games several years over the Irish, but Father Ryan's been able to get some of those wins back, and if they can hold on for the victory here tonight, they'll have a 23-20 lead in the all-time series with Overton.
It's definitely something special that I think was great that they still allowed, like you talked over, that they've let these private public school rivalries, most of which are neighborhood rivalries, to continue. It's such a great thing to see that spirit, especially the one with John Overton. It definitely means so much on Franklin Road.
So Father Ryan leads 24-0. And while there are things that I'm sure the coaches will be able to find on film and point out and corrections to be made, it's a nice way to build some momentum going into the heart of the season. A deep kick. Build around the 2 to the 15. Tries to cut back to the 20. Spun around and tackled around the 22-yard line. That's where Overton's next possession will start. There's Jefferson. Played a lot at running back tonight on that return, but Irish up to the challenge to stop him there.
I really don't know what we're going to see from Overton. I have some questions on some of the things they've done tonight, but I think we're going to see a lot of QB runs right here, design runs. That seems to be the best offense they have. Their passing game is just not there, and Father Ryan's coverage has been fantastic.
I'm still rather surprised when they were down 17-0. They punted the ball. That was not what I expected, but it turned out well for the Irish as they were able to drive down the field. And it's still a 3-possession game, but that's 24 points. That's 3 the hard way, 3 touchdowns and 3 2-point conversions. So if Overton's going to get back into this one, they're going to have to turn the Jets on here in a hurry. 5:25 to go, fourth quarter. Mast out of the gun. Going to the near side. A near juggling catch on this near side, but falls incomplete, intended for Jefferson. 2nd and 10. 5:17 to go, fourth quarter. Looks like the Irish are on their way to yet another opening game win. It's 3 for 3 for Coach Rector if the Irish hold on for this one. Mast on 2nd and 10, throws over the middle. It's caught. Shy of a first down, about 2 yards short. Like Nick Watson and maybe Michael Hart's in there as well. So 3rd and 1 for Overton. The clock runs. Less than 5 minutes to go, fourth quarter. Father Ryan with a commanding 24-0 lead. And Overton with 16 seconds on the play clock. Some confusion as the receivers go from one side to the other to try and get lined up. And on this 3rd and 1, I'm going to hand off to Jeff. No, he's going to be a keeper. Faked me out, and it's a first down for Mast. So you got some score updates, Owen?
Yeah, one of interest. Ravenwood trying to make a comeback against Centennial there in the fourth quarter there. Centennial leads 28-21 over Ravenwood.
Of course, Ravenwood will be hosting the Irish later this season. And I'm sure they've seen enough of the Jackson Bird fake field goal touchdown to last them a lifetime. They've got a few receipts for the Irish coming up, but what has looked like a strong season for Ravenwood, they may end up with a loss again this season if they can't make the comeback. 4 minutes to go here in this fourth quarter. Mast is going to throw the man coverage on that far side. Falls incomplete. So it's up a 2nd and 10. And Hubbock was there again. Irish have shown a lot of trust in Hubbock in those man coverage situations.
Here's another score of interest from you. A little bit of a blowout up in Hendersonville against Week 4 matchup. Bishop's Cup rival JP2 up on Whites Creek. I don't know if the score is final, but JP2 up on Whites Creek 57-0. This according to the Night Sports Net.
They led 50-0 at the half. So on 2nd and 10, Mast to be sacked.
And I know a lot of people are thinking, oh my gosh, is JP2 that good? We don't know, but I want to remind everyone, in the first game of the Rector era at Hillwood, Father Ryan was up 45-0 at halftime and only put up 7 points, and that was a very good Bishop's game that year.
Like Anthony right there on the stop for the Irish. Tackle for loss, sacking Mast. 3rd and 13. I remember that game. It was in a downpour. That was the game where Father Ryan wear purple jerseys because Hillwood couldn't be bothered to get their greens out there, and they were going to throw it. It'll fall incomplete.
I remember because I was on the sideline drenching.
Yeah, we were up. That's the game Rhett Douglas and I called. We're up there. We were very fortunate that we didn't quite get as soaked as you and many of the others did, but it was a very one-sided win. Well, that was where Kurt Page, of course, the head coach at Hillwood, head coach last time Father Ryan won a state championship in football in 1997. So 4th and 13, and considering Overton has punted the last couple of times, you figure they're going to do that once again. Parker Erdman back for the Irish on the punt return. 3 seconds on the play clock, so they have to reset that or take the penalty. We'll see. Oh, they're going to reset the play clock. Looking at the head official. As always, if you have any confusion about what's going on, look for the official with the white hat. That's your referee. That's the one who has the ultimate say. So it is a punt, a spinning end over end, but powerful punt. Urban's going to call for the fair catch and make it near the Father Ryan 20-yard line. So
One thing Overton has done really well tonight is they've had very good punt coverage throughout the night.
they've been right there, and Father Ryan hasn't tried to do too much either with the punt return. That's where special teams can be very dangerous if you don't execute them properly, but aside from the one muff that the Irish were able to recover, it's been smooth sailing with the fair catches.
And only one kickoff return to start the second half with the scoreless Overton away just to start the second half, and a very good return by David Ward.
Ward's had a nice game. He had long reception and that nice return, as you noted there, Owen. Going to ask a lot of him this season from the wide receiver positions. A snap that very low, like on the 1 or 2 bounce to Tabscott.
He did a good.
Oh, they got
Dylan Timmons, I believe, is the
gonna say-
number I read.
yeah, Timmons is back in. So we're into the game. He played on defense earlier. He's now in as the backup quarterback for the Irish. Sophomore. Can't really blame him on that first play as the snap got to him on the 2 or 3 bounce. So Father Ryan able to bring in some younger players to get some experience here as we approach the 2:15 mark of this fourth quarter, and Father Ryan leading 24-0 and looking to salt away a win. It's going to be a handoff, maybe a 1 or 2 yard gain. Jaden Robinson on the carry. So Robinson will come to the sideline. One freshman in for another. Number 21, Marion Ford in there now for the Irish. Both teams content to let the clock run on down. 15 seconds on the play clock. And now 1:30 to go here in this fourth quarter. Father Ryan leading 24-0. So from the gun, Timmons, a little trouble handling that one. Tries to pick it up. I'm going to just jump on it. The ball's loose.
I believe John Overton has it.
Indeed, it was a fumble recovery by Overton. So Adewaldi.
That's just one of the things that kills you as a coach. Your defense has played so well and has fought so hard tonight, and on the final minutes you just have a mishandling that puts your backs up against the wall.
Why is the clock still running? Less than a minute. I'm not complaining.
I'm not either, but it's just one of those things you wonder about, Lou.
Well, now the Irish, you got to think they thought they had that shutout in hand, and now Overton, if they were so inclined, can try and punch it in. They've stopped the clock. 56 seconds. Either way, this is short of something. Unless Overton can get 3 touchdowns and 3 2-point conversions in 56 seconds, Irish are going to win. But certainly you want to have the morale of having this shutout to start the season if at all possible.
You know, I never like to count out any possibility in football anymore. I feel like we see it all now.
You never know. But in this case, again, I think with the lining up, they're just going to take a knee, and that may be for the best.
Because, you know, your morale as Overton, you know, like I said, not trying to knock Overton. They played a really hard-fought game, but when you get in this position and you go for it and you still don't get it, that is a real morale crusher when you have the best field position you've had all night and you still can't convert.
I think at this point, Overton knows the outcome of this one is obviously
And
24
and you run the risk.
They fixed the clock now, minute 12. Okay, that's what they were talking about.
And you also run the risk of getting players hurt in a game that's already over.
That's true.
How much is it worth, you know? I think that's what this really comes down to. What does this come down to?
Number 96, Owen Strickmaker, freshman into the game for the Irish. Be a run up the middle. That was I see going under center as Diamande, the defensive end, gets a carry.
And I think you're right, Rue. It does look like they're just going to try to pound it in at the last couple seconds.
With nothing else, this gives Overton an opportunity to test out their goal line offense, and
They haven't had the opportunity so far tonight.
this is the furthest they've gotten into Father Ryan territory here at the 44-second mark of the fourth quarter. It's going to be Mass just keeping himself, trying to leap over. Stopped at the 2-yard line. The clock continues to run, 32 seconds and counting. So an unusual little end to the game here. This is, again, the outcome. It's going to be a Father Ryan win. We know that, but it's Overton trying to get some real-time snaps in to try out a couple of its plays ahead of the rest of its schedule. 3rd and goal from the 2. 10 seconds to go in this one. Can the Irish preserve the shutout? Mass is going to try throwing, and it will fall incomplete.
1 second. 1 second.
It's hit 0-0-0, but it... So Hopkins is right there to deny, and that's going to be the final play of the game, as they will say that is all zeros on that one. So Father Ryan ends up preserving the shutout, a 24-0 victory over Overton, and some momentum going into the game 1 week from tonight, beginning Division II AAA play, taking on Brentwood Academy right here at Giacosa Stadium, 7 o'clock Central Time, 1 week from tonight.
We can't wait to be with you there. I'll be on the sideline. I believe Austin Wright will be up here in the booth with you, Lou, next week. We hope you tune in as well. Make sure you continue to follow our social media behind FRHS Crest on Instagram and Twitter and everywhere else. We'll be trying to cover some more games besides football this week. Now stay tuned. Keep up with Irish athletics.
So, final score here at Giacosa Stadium. Father Ryan 24, John Overton High School 0. Irish 1-0 in the season, playing host to Brentwood Academy 1 week from tonight. And we'll have that broadcast for you here behind the Crest and ATW Sportscast. So for everybody here involved with this broadcast, this is Lou Pickney saying so long. Your final from Giacosa Stadium, Father Ryan 24, Overton 0. We'll see you next Friday night.